So you guys were I'm hearing a lot of you guys just wanted a theme song shortened, so here we go. This girl reviews movies, games, and books. Sometimes she plays them. So does that, and when she does it with the cat, does that make her crazy? Does that make her crazy? Probably. So, it's shorter. There you go. CrazyCatLady or Martha Butler does not own any trailers or pictures. I use them under fair educational for and entertainment purpose. It's like it's all they did. Well, those years ago. See? No, I don't want to do any more of it.
Alright, hi everyone, Martha here, and we got some sad news before I start with this review, which I did like this book. I love this book, but that's not why I'm a little bit irked before we get to the review, and that is, remember that show I did either last month or 2 months ago, of Kaos, the one with Jeff Goldblum playing Zeus? The one where I got mad about what he did in that show. The rest of it was fine, I liked that. The rest of it, just didn't like that one part. But we got some sad news about it, and I was so wanting to know, why is it called Kaos? Because we never, for something that's called Kaos, we never met the actual god named Kaos in this show, and I kept on thinking, why bother naming it after that god if you're not going to bother showing them? And this is, technically it is a them because it's both, because Kaos is technically both a girl and a guy god. So yeah, it's not one particular set gender. So, but the sad thing is, we don't get to have a season 2. You go back to the page, and we record it. Go away, ad. Why is it doing this? Okay, dumb ad. Okay. Kaos, Netflix canceled. Greek mythology comedy after 1 season. Will not continue. Yeah, I really like this one because I like the fact that it teaches you Greek mythology in a very funny way and stuff like that. And I did like, after reading this book, I did learn that one of the offhanded jokes was actually real. But yeah, I wanted to see more Jeff Goldblum. But okay. Whatever. I'm a little irked about that, but what are you gonna do, guys? So let's get started with this book, which is called Percy Jackson, Greek Gods. And basically we learn about the gods' history of Greek mythology. Not all of them. Just the main, I would say 14 and 2, actually 15, because you learn about Uranus and 1 Titan. So yeah, I'm not going to talk about all of them on here. I'm just going to give you guys a little bit my favorite stories of each of them and what I learned about some of these ones. So it started with Percy Jackson does this more an extra credit report, I guess, for his college stuff that he's doing, and he had weird order of doing this stuff, because first he starts off with Uranus, and then he does Kronos. Then when he gets to the gods, he starts with the females, and he did a little joke right here when he starts off right here. Let me read this page to you because I found it really funny once I get to it, because everybody thinks that you should start with Zeus, but he did it as a joking way because he does not like Zeus, which I can totally understand why you do not like Zeus. Even though he kind of did start with Zeus because he explained how Zeus how Zeus was born, and he did all of them, but all Zeus came with the idea to be him. So this came with the idea to be Kronos. But here we go. Why is Zeus always first? Seriously, every book about Greek gods has to start with this guy. Are we going to do reverse alphabetical order? I know he's the king of the Olympians and all, but trust me, this dude ego does not need to get any bigger. I know, you know what? Forget him. We're gonna talk about the gods in order they were born. First, Take a back seat, Zeus. First starting with Hecate. So yeah, I did like this. I did like the fact that they pretty much insulted Zeus. Because, the only one I really like Zeus is in the Hercules movie. Because Hercules portrays him as a good dad, but which he is not to none of his kids. So not in real mythology. Not in the fictional stories. Because I don't, even though I love these stories, I don't believe in them. So let's get started with finding out how this thing's basically. Uranus was the one who made a bunch. Who was the one who started this whole entire thing. Kaos is the one who was first born, and he gave birth to. And if I don't get any of these right, I'm sorry, but not a lot of this right. I'm sorry. I'm correct, but just do it in a nice way. Gave both to Gaia, and Gaia and Uranus both have kids together, where they're all the Titans. And Kronos ends up cutting off Uranus's, and that what makes Aphrodite born. Then we get to where we had the order of which babies were born and eaten. So there was Hecate, who was first, poor Hecate, and then there is. Demeter. Yeah, Demeter was next. Then Hera. Then Hades. Then Poseidon. And then Rhea gets the idea to go and get a rock and make Kronos eat that, because Uranus did a prophecy where they would have where he would die too by one of his kids, and Kronos feared that. That's why he ate them. But trying to prevent it, he actually caused it. Because Uranus did not tell him the specific details of how he would do it. So yeah. And then, so let's get started with every single one of the stories. So Hecate is one of those three gods that wanted to not have babies because of what happened to her when she was born. So she made certain that she never had kids. The two stories that mostly are in here, one story is where poor Hecate gets asked to be married by Poseidon and Apollo, which not cool. And also a guy who tried to R-word her, and Zeus and the other gods came to her rescue. Now Demeter, we know, you might already know about that. She the two stories I know about her, actually three stories. Both Zeus and Poseidon both tried to both did her, and Poseidon did her as a horse, while Zeus did her as a snake. The snake one made Persephone, while the one with Poseidon gave birth to her less popular children that are not in many stories. And Hera sadly ends up having to deal with Zeus's problems all the time, since she one that married her, and the way he makes her marry him is by turning into a cuckoo bird and having her say "I love you." And then the stories that we talk about here for Hera's are, I'm trying to get to that page. Okay, the cuckoo bird one. Is there another one? And that's how he gets married to her. And they also tell the story about how a turtle was who was invited to the wedding of Hera and Zeus. How the first turtle was born. What's his name? Chilolo, because Hermes goes down there to get them, and she just wants to stay at home. And she technically becomes the first turtle, so she can be home all the time, which is very terrible. So that's one of the stories when I talk with Hera. Let's get on with the next one, Hades. Now, Hades, with Persephone one, but there's also where he kidnaps Persephone. There's also technically two times where he cheated on her, and with Mitni and another lady. What's her name? Let's do the other one where we find out that Theseus and another guy try to date Persephone, and so he decided to put Theseus to a chair and have him suffer that way. It's kind of like, have you ever seen Sister Act 2, what they do to Dolores in that movie, the students, and get her stuck to her chair for a little while? That's what it kind of remind me of, minus the snakes. So yeah, and they also have the story of Sisyphus in here, where he sends a story down there for Sisyphus, and where he tricks Xanatos into being under his bed. That's a funny joke, and then Ares is mad for a while about it because when he does all his war stuff, nobody's dying. Like he's like, what the hell? And then he like goes to Zeus and Hades like, why is none of my people dying? Where's my buddy Xanatos? Where's he? And we find out that Sisyphus has him, and so they go and get him, and then get Xanatos released. And for some reason, Persephone and Hades let Sisyphus go so he can go and get because his wife did not give him a proper burial, and so he gets to go back up and stay up there until he dies, and then he gets his torture is having to roll a rock down and not ever get pulled up. And they also talk about Tantalus in here too, and Perdiceus. They talk about both of those guys. Now Tantalus, I already talked about Perdiceus one in Kaos' story, but Tantalus' story is about a guy who feeds his son to the gods. Only one that eats one is Demeter, because she's still sad about Persephone. And when Zeus like figures out like, what the hell, you cannot ever eat and drink ever again, because I'm gonna tantalize you with a bunch of grapes which you can never reach, and water you're standing in that you can never reach either. So yeah, that's where the word tantalizing came from. And I like that. And Poseidon, see, I think you learn more about the thing with the fact that him and Hera don't get him and not Hera, Athena don't get along, because they're always competing with each other who gets what city to worship them. And how Athena always gets like Athens is technically named after her, because he wasn't able to persuade them. And later on we had the whole entire war that happens with Athena in a while with that city, because they said no to him, and eventually they failed. They did build a temple for both of them, and then we find out that he ends up being with one of the sea nymphs, and we know that this is technically Percy's dad, which they don't really mention how that. And then we do Medusa's story, which is technically a revenge story he does to Athena, since Medusa is one of her nuns. In some stories, Medusa does it willingly, and other stories, she is the R word. I think I like it better when it's her choice. I always feel sorry for her, because what happens to her at the very end, she was just basically a victim in basically this story. It wasn't her fault. I don't really blame her. She did not have reserved to get her head cut off. And then we are finally at Zeus, where we talk about Zeus kills everyone. It's basically very close to the story of Noah. But instead of them using Noah, it's another couple, which they stayed on a ship, a chest, and they even reference the fact there's Noah out here, and they like wave at him like, "Hi, Noah!" And I did like the fact that they referenced that, and there was their job to populate, and then they're actually an older couple, so it's harder for them to populate this. And I did like this art. See, look, here's this art of this book right here of each god. This is supposed to be Demeter. Then we got Hades and Persephone, and I think that's supposed to be Poseidon. We got Zeus and Athena and Paleta, which is her best friend. And we got Ares and Apollo killing the snake. And then we got Dionysus right here. There you go. So there's your guys' art for today. I did like these arts right here. So let me see if I can find out what other ones we could talk about with Zeus stories. They didn't mention like how some of the gods were like born on here. Since let's start with those ones. Since Athena was born out of Zeus's head because he ate his one of his wives, And then we have where Zeus had birth with a did one with Dionysus' mom, which is technically a girl, mortal. So when Herod tried to have her punished, is having her look at Zeus's actual part for a while. Now Athena, I already talked about mostly with the fact that she accidentally killed one of her friends because Zeus got jealous. Was worried about his daughter because if you don't know, Athena is his favorite of his kids, and he's trying to protect her by having, but instead he actually breaks her heart in this way. And I just really feel sorry for her. And I think I already mentioned most of the other stories. There's also that spider story where the girl we made for a spider, and she was a weaver that thought she was better than Athena at weaving, and she ends up actually winning. And Athena gets jealous the fact that she won and turns her into a spider. So she's always so out of revenge. Arachne. So we meet her, I think, in one of the books of the other ones. So now one's next after Athena? Aphrodite. Now Aphrodite is the one that Hephaestus ends up with, but she actually cheats on him with Ares a lot, and a lot of the other gods do like her, but Hera ends up with Hephaestus out of bitterness, and also the fact that she needs to reward him for getting him out of the chair. So yeah, and let's see what other ones we could talk about. And we also got the story about Pandora's box. Basically, she's the one that gave birth to Pandora, which, if you don't remember who Pandora is, she's the one that opens... Really, it's a jar. I don't know where the box came from, but the jar that she opens in order to make miseries happen, because it is as a gift to one of the mortals. Technically, she's supposed to be the first woman, which probably is not true, because there has to be girls before that, but... Yeah, since how long it took for Persephone to get up, Aphrodite to get up there. And let's see who's next. Ares is next. Now, Ares is one of the few gods who's actually is Hera's and Zeus's. So it's one of the few ones that he did not cheat on. And he was one of the ones actually is faithful. That came out with a faithful thing. But I do like the fact that even though I don't like him because of what he is for, and the fact that he, even though he's supposed to be the god of war, he's technically a coward because he does not ever want to fight himself ever, and he just basically thinks he is a big brute, but he's really not. What Perseus plays him as, and he his kids are Pain and Panic, the ones that are in Hercules, but Famos and Deimos, and one of his kids that he got mad at because the guy was not faithful to his daughter, and they got turned to snakes, and they got put into Hades. I'm trying to find another one I could talk about. And then we also got the story about the Golden Fleece, which is the one that has to do with Jason. How the hell was created? Because he kills it, and we find out that technically is Poseidon's kid. So Perseus is actually related to him. The next one we get to talk about is Apollo, which is technically my favorite god. And we learned about a couple of things how he was born, because his mom asked to find a good place to give birth because Hera is making sure that she never can give birth on land. So she has to go to an island and it only comes on out every once in a while, and so that doesn't count. And so they're the ones that gets to make sure that Apollo and Artemis gets sure that this place is made. And Apollo's the one that's the god of music and prophecy, and he has to go and kill the giant snake, and because it goes after his mom for a while and tries to eat her. Trying to find out I can learn how to say it. Python as revenge for going after his mom. And he also becomes the god of archery, and his kid, who we get mentioned about in Artemis's chapter, is the one who ends up saving one of Artemis's best friends, who's actually a guy who is also Theseus's son, which is the one that kills the Minotaur. And he becomes one of Artemis's followers. One of the few ones actually was a guy There was two of them that were guys. Him and what's his name? Orion, where his fault was one of the ones that were guys. It's just most of them are girls. And he ends up getting killed because Persephone wanted to make them fall in love, so he hit on her and stuff like that. So he ends up getting punished, but so he gets brought back to life because of Apollo's kid brings him back to life. He ends up getting punished for doing that because you're not supposed to do that by Hades. And so he ends up getting killed, but he also becomes the god of healing. And Apollo does not like the fact that there's a... Technically, in some stories, this is Pan, who says he's a better flute player than him, but he's not. It's actually Apollo, and that's one story about him. I think let's go talk, so we can find another one with Artemis. So Artemis did end up with sending out the pig that Hercules comes and gets, and there's also like a very super lady that ends up killing it. One of the few ladies out there who's actually a hero. Ends up killing this pig. Hercules also takes it to a king, as it's actually his cousin. And we also get the story about Callisto, who gets turned into a bear because Zeus does this thing and makes him where he does stuff with her. And ends up gets her turned into a bear because of it. Because Artemis is not supposed to have followers, not supposed to have kids. And then we got technically 3 gods we have left. We have Festus, who let's just do the one story with him where he has Aphrodite and Ares get put in when they're cheating on him. He gets dropped into a bed as a punishment. That's one of the stories that they pick. Hermes ends up stealing Apollo's cows by taking them to an island, and then a farmer ends up seeing them, and he turns that poor farmer to a statue and stuff like that. And then the last one we talk about is Dionysus, where we find out that Dionysus marries the girl that Theseus is supposed to marry, but he ends up leaving her on the island. And while Dionysus is getting away from some pirates that captured him, he gets put on an island, marooned, and finds her, and actually marries her, unlike Theseus did. And she gets to be up there with their Olympus, and that's why in Kaos he says, "Oh, I like that girl," offhanded, even though they in this show they technically are never met. So now I know I didn't mention all the stories in here, but I did try my best to mention them. So hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm probably going to give this one like a 9 out of 10. I really love it. So then the next book I'm going to read is Ivy Poole's Heart. There's also Wicked. I'm going to read after that. And then after that, I'm going to go back to reading. I'm probably going to read Daughters of the Deep. And there's also Brooklyn's House, Magician's Manual, Demigod Files, and Camp Jupiter Classified. And also one of the Kingdom Hearts books. So that's it, guys. So I know this is a pretty long video, but this is a long book. It's like 12 hours to talk about. So if you guys enjoy that, have fun. Hope you guys love learning about the Greek gods. So I'll see you guys later. Like, favorite, and subscribe, and bye-bye.